God morning, family, and welcome to the Ahiah Center for Spiritual Living's Sunday live streaming on Facebook. I'm Reverend Michael Bernard, your assistant minister, your guide on the side. Today's topic is Fire in the Belly, which will be delivered by our senior minister, Reverend Scott Olson. And of course, our musical inspiration today is the dynamic Elizabeth Hangan. She's accompanied by our beloved licensed practitioner and musical director, Chris Glick, over there tickling the keys. We've got Gloria on sound and Derek on video. Mindy Morrison is the Zoom Room moderator, who you can find over at ahiah.com/virtual. Will allow you to see a Zoom-based streaming of the Facebook Live platform. And as our Facebook Live moderator, Louise Mucha, and our beloved practitioner of the day is Patricia Roach. Don't forget to chat and send love while you're in the chat room there streaming. And in just a moment, I'm going to invite you to take a deep centering and cleansing breath as our beloved Patricia Roach leads us in the invocation and the inspirational reading for today. Yes, peace and many blessings.
And so I'd like to ask you to take a deep breath in with me and go within as we prepare for a meditation with music from Faith Rivera.
I am a child of this universe. The ocean dances at my feet. The wind plays a melody through my hair. I am loved at every turn. I am kissed by Mother. I am a child of this universe. The sun warms me in its embrace. The stars have a light for me in the sky. I am honored by all life. I am held by Father Time. Every blade of grass, every shaking leaf on the tree, every mountain top sings of the glory of God moving through me, moving through you. Oh, I am a child of this universe. Through my breath, all of life can breathe. I plant the seeds with my every dream. I can love at every turn. Give a kiss to Mother Earth. Yes, I am a child of this universe. I greet the God in each face. I am a channel for peace to flow.
Good morning, Ahiah. Welcome. I'm so grateful that you have decided to join us. My name is Patricia Roach, and I am a practitioner emeritus at Ahiah Center for Spiritual Living. And I'm going to start with the invocation, which is a little different, but it's still our invocation. And then I'll do a reading, and we'll go from there. So it starts off, this is from Living in the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes, and it starts on page 362 to 363. And it starts off with, fear has brought confusion. Faith will give birth to confidence. Anxiety has brought days filled with conflict and nights full of dread. Faith alone can heal this confusion and drive from our minds all thoughts of fear and dissipate all anxiety. Love alone can bring harmony into our lives. So I invite you to turn within. You can either look down or close your eyes or just be comfortable and listen to the words as I go into our prayer. I lay all fear aside, and in confidence and complete faith, I turn to the one perfect divine presence, knowing that the light of truth shines upon my path, even as divine love guides me into the secret place of the Most High, where I dwell under the shadow of the Almighty. I know that there is nothing to be afraid of in God's world. Fear cannot operate in me, nor can it go forth from me. At the very center of my being, there is a complete confidence, complete faith. At the very center of my being, there is a consciousness of the protection of divine love, the guidance of divine wisdom, and the strength of divine power. And so I turn in thought to the whole world and know that my word is bringing light and life and a feeling of strength and confidence to everyone. I turn in thought to the leaders of the world everywhere and know that love and intelligent guidance is directing their thoughts and actions. I turn in thought to all the nations of the earth and awaken in them the realization that there is good enough to go around, that there is a divine government under which they all may be protected from the fear of each other. I turn in thought to the great creative imagination of the human race and assure it that there is a feeling and a presence at the center of everything, waiting to make itself known. And I turn to the great God who knows all things and who can do all things and say, lead kindly light amid the encircling gloom. Lead thou me on. So as I turn within, knowing this truth, that God is in charge, and that our service is divinely blessed as our ministers are divinely guided through the intelligence and the love and the wisdom that God is. I know that everyone that is participating in this service is blessed and is divinely guided, guarded, and protected by this presence we call God. The love permeates and flows in, through, and all around each one of us as the energy and the life force of this presence comes forth and shows itself as each one of us. I bless our ministers, our musicians, and all those that have participated in making this service available to each one of us. and I give thanks, knowing that whatever is said is divinely guided and directed, and that those of us that are participating in this service are receptive to receive, open to receive exactly what we need to hear, knowing that we are divinely guided to do as we just be. I truly give thanks, knowing that this is, and that God being all that there is, that we participate as one in the loving and the love for this service. And together we say, and so it is. Amen and amen. Now our reading is from the Science of Mind textbook, and I have two, of course. So it's from page 151 and 152. And I think that both of these readings are appropriate for our theme, Bright Beginnings, and Reverend Scott's topic today, Fire in the Belly. So this reading is Science of Mind, textbook by Ernest Holmes. There is a place in us which lies open to the infinite. But when the Spirit brings its gift by pouring itself through us, it can give to us only what we take. This taking is mental. If we persist in saying that life will not give us that which is good, God will not and cannot answer our prayer. It cannot, for life must reveal itself to us through our intelligence. The pent-up energy of life and the possibility of further human evolution work through man's imagination and will. The time is now. The place is where we are, and it is done unto us as we believe. The second reading, because I think that this coronavirus has or is perpetuating fear, I love the reading by Marianne Williamson from her book, A Return to Love, Our Deepest Fear. So I'm going to read this as our second reading that is part of Fire in the Belly. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone, all of us. And as we let our own light shine and let it shine bright, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So with this, I say thank you for the opportunity to be with you this morning.
So this song, Turn, 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 has been done by so many people. Pete Seeger, the Bible, the Byrds. But it's so appropriate for this time because of this virus time that we're going through. We have to reevaluate, our lives and how we're going to come out of this. And so I think Turn, Turn, Turn is very appropriate for what we're doing right now. Thank you. To everything, turn, turn, There is a season, turn, 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 and a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time for every purpose under heaven. A time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to reap, a time to sow, a time for love, a time for hate, a time for peace, a time for peace, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late.
Good morning. My name is Reverend Scott Olson, and I am so happy to be here with you in virtual Ahiah land. It's so good that you've decided to come and meet with us on our Facebook live stream or our Zoom meeting of this Facebook live stream. However you've shown up, whether you're in your pajamas and sitting in bed, or you've been up for hours, had breakfast and a shower, and it's sitting at a table, however that is for you, I'm so glad you decided to join us. And I want to also suggest that while you're on this live stream, that you participate in the chat a little bit. It helps to keep us all connected, and in this time of quarantine, I think that this platform allowing us to connect as a community is wonderful. It's also a way for new people to kind of find a way to connect with us in a deeper way than just watching us. So it would be wonderful if you guys would all chat on our Facebook or our Zoom live stream, whichever way you're accessing this right now. And also, I'd like you to consider putting in names of people who need prayer. I'll be doing a prayer after the talk, in which I'll include people generally, but also tonight I'll go back and I'll read all the names that were input into the live stream and put them in my prayers. So whether that's you, or someone you care for, or someone you love, somebody in your family who needs a little bit of prayer today. Maybe they have the coronavirus, or maybe they've been affected in the multitudes of ways that we're being affected right now. But maybe it's heavy on their heart at the moment, and they'd like some prayer. We would love to pray for them. So go ahead and just type their name into the chat, and I'll see that tonight. And so we've been talking about the theme of bright beginnings for this entire month of April. And bright beginnings, I think, is a perfect theme for us where we are in the world with the whole COVID-19 quarantine going on. I think it's a wonderful theme for us. But the thing that we have to keep in mind is that it is not the bright beginning right now. Instead, what we are expected to do is to go within and to set our intentions for how that bright beginning will look like once we're on the other side of this. What is our intention? And so we've covered a lot during this month. I started out with the first week, 3 weeks ago. We were talking about how we don't really know what it'll look like when we get on the other side of this whole quarantine situation. We've never experienced that before. Nobody in the world has experienced that before. And so we get to kind of make it up new. And we may not know what we want it to look like on the other side, but maybe we can know how we want to feel. Maybe that's a good starting place. And then 2 weeks ago, it was Easter Sunday, and the talk title was Broken Open. And Easter is all about transitions. And so we were talking about how those transitions show up in our life and how we're in the middle of a transition right now. And so I left you with a theme, a meme, that said it's a couple of angels looking down on the earth, and it says they've been sent to their room to think about what they have done. And I know for me that was a very effective thing that happened to me when I was a child. And most of the time when I came out of my room, I had a different perspective on life. And I'm hoping that that's true for this transition period we're in right now. Now, last week, the talk title was Unwritten, and it was a nod to a Natasha Bedingfield song by the same title from 2004. And one of the lines in her song that I really love is she says, "The best is still unwritten." And I think that's what we need to do in this time, is we need to go out and write the world a new part of a new future. Go out and rewrite what we had written down before, maybe, at least as a plot. We want to rewrite that into a new, brighter future with a few lessons that we've learned during this quarantine time taken into consideration. And so we're on our way to a bright beginning. And I'd like to ask Reverend Mike to tell us a little bit from his home what he thinks about bright beginnings.
The fire in the belly. What does that mean? Where does that term originate? I think it relates to the solar plexus chakra. This place right here in our solar plexus, often a place we refer to as our gut intuition, our knowingness. I think the fire in the belly originates from that place of knowingness within us. We come in, our soul is electrified with the passion and purpose of our beingness, because our soul knows. It knows why we showed up here. It knows our reason for being. And to the extent that we invest in our spiritual practice and aligning ourselves with our soul's purpose, we can hear that. We can feel it. We're connected to it. We know, and we know that we know what is ours to do. But sometimes there are things in our environment, such as the waterfall of fears that we're seeing right now that can wash away or dilute that fire in our belly. Right now, you may have noticed, it seems like the entire contents of the human subconscious has just spilled out onto the internet. It's like a big box of Legos just strewn across the floor. And all of our fears and worries and our worst nightmares are out there. We're hearing conflicting reports. The masks don't do anything against the virus. Oh, but you better wear your mask. It's entirely confusing, disconcerting, unsettling. And so many of us are disconnected from the fire in the belly, our passion, our purpose, our reason for being. But there's a message left for us in the scriptures. In the book of Matthew 6:6, there's a message from the master teacher inviting us to go within to that secret place where our Father who sees in secret can hear us and will reward us openly. And I think that there's a metaphorical meaning hidden in that, inviting us to go within to that secret and sacred place, to invest in our spiritual practice, where we can stoke the fire in the belly, the fire within. And that hopelessness that we are attuned to in our environment, that hopelessness will become hopefulness. And if we listen and allow that hopefulness to permeate our beingness, it then becomes helpfulness. And we realize that the reason we showed up here is to care for one another. That we came out of love for love. How grateful I am to be alive at this time. It's a wonderful time to be alive. We have so much to be grateful for. Our spiritual community. There are people who right now are just hungry for our presence because we are awakening to the purpose, the passion, the presence, and the power. The one power that is all that there is. How grateful I am to know that, and to know that I know that, and how grateful I am for you and the fire in your belly. Peace and many blessings, family. Namaste.
Thank you, Reverend Mike. Now, the talk title for this week is Fire in the Belly. And it's a nod to the fact that this is the beginning of Ramadan. It happened on the 23rd of April, and it goes on to the 23rd of May. And in the Islamic faith, what this is a whole month's worth of fasting. Every day, from sunrise to sunset, you don't eat anything. You fast. It's not only a fasting for food, but also for water, for cigarettes, for sex. We basically take nothing into the body is the idea from the Muslim faith. And beyond that, they go a little bit deeper than that in that they follow up with some mental ideas also. They want to refrain from violence and anger, envy and greed, lust. And then there's an interpersonal part, which is, we don't want to get angry with each other during this time. And there are no sarcastic retorts if, in fact, you are fasting in the way that they are fasting. And you don't lie or gossip during this time of fasting. All of these are part of the fast of Ramadan. And we also try to get along more with each other during the fasting. So that's the point, is to take this opportunity of fasting for an entire month and to change your perspective a little bit. And I think this is a perfect idea for the world right now where we find ourselves in. Now, when the sun sets, there is an end to the fast or a breaking of the fast. You can say you're having breakfast. And for the most part, most Muslims will try and follow, if they can, the lead of Muhammad, peace and blessings be unto him. And that following of him would be to eat a date as your first thing. And I think that's great. I love dates. I love the creamy, sweet texture to them. And I think if we're going to use that as a guide for anything, it's kind of a guide to move us towards our own bright beginning. Now, we're just following along in our founder, Ernest Holmes' footsteps on this topic. Ever since he was a young man, he went out and studied all the world's religions. And so, for example, for myself to become a minister in this philosophy, when I went to ministerial school, I had to take a number of classes in different world's religions. And I was fortunate enough to have gotten a class in Islam taught by a Sufi master. And if you're not familiar with Sufism, Sufism is the mystical branch of the Islam faith. And he was a wonderful teacher, a kind teacher, a soulful teacher. And what I think we're doing, what they are doing, what the Muslims are doing in this part of their faith by fasting for an entire month, is they're kind of removing themselves from the world. They're removing themselves from so much focus being on the world of effect. Now, if you're going to remove yourself from the world of effect, where do you go to? Well, if you're not out there, then you must be in here. And so, right now, I think the whole world, whether you're Muslim or not, you're kind of following this idea of Ramadan, because this whole quarantine situation that we find ourselves is its own way of fasting. It is kind of a way of having a fire in the belly feeling from fasting. I know that that's been true for me as I've lived through this experience. Now, for me, I've had the opportunity and taken the time to go within and to look at things. And there are a number of things I've been exploring interiorly during this time of quarantine. One of them is, what am I doing as the leader of Ahiah? How do I approach leading our congregation forward during this time of quarantine? And there are things that I just don't know. There was no pandemic ministry class when I was in ministerial school. There was nothing out there that pointed the way, because nobody has seen this coming. Nobody looked for this. Nobody has planned for this. We're all just kind of in the same boat. We're all like, oh, let's try this and do that. Now, there are plenty of technical aspects that keep my mind busy when I'm engaged with them. But when I go within, what I'm thinking about is things that are more heart-touching. How do we maintain connection with each other during this time? How do we as a community help those who are in need during this time? How do we keep the wheels on the education school bus during this time? How do we advance people's education in our philosophy? These are all things that I'm thinking about as being the senior minister for Ahiah. But there's also worldly things in my own life that I'm taking within. And one of those is kind of, what is mine to do when we come out on the other side of this quarantine? What should I be doing? What's mine in all of this? So there are some topics that I've been thinking about, like how do we create a more peaceful world? How do we care for our planet more? How do I care for the planet more? And how do I help in creating a world that works for everyone? And so far, when I listen to that still small voice inside of me, what I hear is kind of a message of staying the course. That I've become a minister and I should continue doing that ministry. And yes, maybe it looks a little different, but it's still good. There's still ways of being in the world. And so when I look at that, what I find is that there is meaning still in my life in ministry. I still have a meaning, and it's still living itself through me and as me in the way I'm showing up right this second, right now. And so one of the interesting things that's happened was yesterday, as I was sitting in my chair, I was in my chair and I was kind of turned to the left a little bit, looking at something, when all of a sudden I had to sneeze. And I had this sudden forceful sneeze, and as I sneezed, I heard something in my back pop. And there was excruciating pain. And I had to have Gabriel help me get up out of my chair, and I went and I laid down for a while. And, eventually I was able to get back into my chair and do a little work. And then I went to bed early, but I didn't sleep very well. And I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I got back in my chair, doing a little bit more, preparing for this talk. But then, this morning, I had an opportunity to ask for prayer. And I asked for prayer from one of our practitioners here at Ahiah, Marcia Bradshaw, who is a practitioner emeritus. She's been a practitioner for over 30 years, and she's wonderful at praying. And so I asked her to pray for my back. And as she was praying for my back, the revealing of the healing that is already intrinsically true of me, I felt a warm sensation in my back. And I did my part by, holding the thought, the image of a white light coming down, and really the white light just being absorbed into that area of my back. And after the prayer, I was tired and I went to sleep for a bit. And I slept well for a few hours. And when I got up, I felt much better. Not completely healed yet, but it's coming. And so what I know about this is that sometimes ministers need to be reminded too, to pray for themselves. That this was a prayer that Spirit was kind of guiding me towards, to remind me that prayer doesn't just work for you, prayer works for me. And I'm pretty good about asking for prayer, but today's prayer was especially meaningful for me. And I really, am taking it to heart. Now, one of the things that I've been thinking about as I was thinking about fasting is, this fasting, it has this time, this essence of a fire in the belly. And all of that comes from kind of a feeling of emptiness. And what I know is that the truth is, in the universe, is that there is no such thing as lack. That every time we look to see a void, there's really no void out there. So I want to give you an example. There's many examples in science, and I am a physicist, so I'm going to give you one example, which is the Hubble Space Telescope. They did an experiment called the Ultra Deep Field Experiment. And in this experiment, what they basically did was they took the Hubble Space Telescope, it's that one that's been orbiting the Earth for a couple of decades now, and they pointed it at a particular spot out in the darkness. So when you look out at the night sky, and it's a clear sky, and you can see the stars and you see the Milky Way, what you mostly see is blackness, a void. And so they took one small, tiny little bit, a bit that at arm's length would just be 1 millimeter square of distance, which would be kind of like my thumbnail here, cut into 10 little pieces. So 1/10 of my thumbnail held out like that. And they kept going around. As the Hubble would come around, it would take another picture for 20 minutes at that spot. After 400 times of doing that, they added all those photons that they'd gotten together, and they added them all up, and they got the picture that you're seeing on your screen right now. And the truth is that that space is not empty. It seems like it's empty, but it is not empty. And what you're seeing on the screen isn't even stars, it's galaxies. And they've identified in that 10,000 galaxies. And the average number of stars in a galaxy is about 100 billion stars, to say it like Carl Sagan would say it. 100 billion stars in each one of those galaxies. So that's a whole lot of stuff in that space that has nothing in it. To us, seems like there's nothing. And so in the physical world, when it seems like it's empty, it's not really empty. There's plenty of things in it. And when I feel that void within me, it's something that I used to feel a lot before I found this philosophy. I would feel like there was a void, some place inside of me that could never be filled. But I found, as I found this philosophy, that I could fill it with God. And actually, I didn't even have to fill it with God. God was already there. I just had to recognize the God within the void. And then, as I went along a little bit more, I recognized myself as one of the individualized expressions of the divine within that God essence. And that shows up in that void as meaning, wanting to be expressed. And that meaning is my life, expressing beautifully, just as it is now. And that's the truth for you also. So while I was puttering around on the internet this week, I found a video from the beginning of the quarantine. And it's been really nice the last couple of days. And I really wanted to just kind of like go out and frolic with everybody outside. But this video has helped me to remember why I'm staying inside. So I'd like to play it for you. And so that video has over 1 million views. I think that's 1 million people that are being reminded to stay inside. We're staying inside, right? So the warmer weather is here. I'm keeping my resolve. I hope you are also. I wanted to share with you something from Rumi, because this is Ramadan, and he is one of the greatest of the ancient Sufi mystic poets. And he says this, which is showing on your screen right now: when inward tenderness finds the secret hurt, pain itself will crack the rock, and let the soul emerge. And so we want to treat ourselves with an inward tenderness. And we want to allow the soul to emerge in all of our doings. And so I want us to finish up with an affirmation. And if you would read that along with me, I renew my life's purpose each and every day by allowing the fire in my belly to guide what's mine to do in the world. And so as you go out into your week this week, Ahiah, I'd like you to focus on what is your bright beginning? What is the thing that you're expecting as life comes back to the new normal? And you don't find it by looking without, you find it by looking within. And whatever message you get from that internalness that you are, know that Spirit is always asking, do you want a little fire with that? Because that's just a little passion. And when we add a little passion to the things that we desire, oh, they become much more creative in our lives. So what I'd like you to consider is to go ahead and allow that fire in your belly to lead you, knowing that ultimately it is always Spirit that will guide you. Thank you, and namaste. And so now is a time where we can anchor these ideas in with a little bit of prayer. So if you would go in with me as I take this time to recognize the one life, the one power, this one presence that Spirit is, knowing absolutely that it is all that there is, it is all that ever shows up, this one life that God is. And I know this life as love, as peace, as joy, as wholeness. I know it is all the aspects that we give to Spirit. And I know as that is the truth of God, I know it to be the truth of myself, that I am that life, that power, that presence, that as I walk forward through this time of this quarantine, that Spirit is walking there with me and as me. And so I ultimately, and you ultimately, are the life that God is. We are each and every one of us expressing that life divine in, as, and through our own life. And so we are the same love and peace and joy that the universe is. And so it's from that place of knowingness that I speak my word as the truth of myself, as the truth of each and every one of us, knowing absolutely that in this time of unknown, that we are held, that we are sheltered, that we are guided forward step by step by step by this living presence that I call Spirit. That I know that we are held, that we are just enmeshed in the peace that God is, enwrapped and enfolded in that peace. That no matter what is going on in my life, no matter how my life is showing up, whether it is staying at home or whether it's being one of the first responders out there, that there is a peace that is always available to me and through me. I know that the love that God is showing up in all of my relationships and all the people that I love. Even if right now I'm not able to be with them face to face, I know that that love still exists, that love still is active in the life that God is as me and as them. And I absolutely know that the wholeness that God is expressing as each and every one of us, just as it's expressing as my back. It's expressing as us, whether we are feeling ill in this moment or whether we feel great. The wholeness that God is always there. Sometimes it just needs to be revealed a little bit more. But it is always, always, always present. It is always the order that is intrinsic to our bodies, to our lives, to our souls. And for knowing all of this, I just give thanks. And I release this prayer to the law, knowing that it's already fulfilled in the mind that God is. And I say life and God are good and very good. And together we say, and so it is. Amen and amen. And so now is the time for our conscious contribution. And so I know in this moment, you probably don't have a check in your hand. Maybe you've already given online. You can see right now the ways that you can give to Ahiah through the internet, either by going to ahiah.com/donate, or mailing in a check, or doing the text to give, where you send the amount of money that you want to in a text to that phone number, 616-229-2225. And then it will ask you for your credit card information if it's your first time doing the text to give to Ahiah. And so we appreciate everything that you do, everything that you give, knowing absolutely that your gift is there to support not just this Sunday activity, but everything that we're doing in the virtual land right now, and all the ways that we are being with our people, whether it's the phone calls, whether it's the prayers, whether it is the food that we send out. However that's showing up, I know that what you're giving is going to that. And so if you'll take your gift and hold it to your chest and repeat after me. This gift I give is God in action. I send it forth with joy, confidence, and ease. I am blessed by the law of giving and receiving, as I now share my gift with life. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And so it is. Amen and amen.
All right, everybody. I want to give you a little piece of advice. And that is, don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Ever, ever, ever. But I want you all to sing along with me and Chris. As a matter of fact, you know what? You can actually sing louder at home than we do at church. So get up, or at least throw the covers back, okay? I want you to throw your head back, and I want you to sing along. Here we go. If you wake up and don't want to smile, and it takes just a little while, open your eyes, look at the day. You'll see things in a different way. Sing, don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be better than before, 'cause yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone. Here we go. Why not think about the things to come, and not about the things that you've done? If your life was bad to you, just think what tomorrow will do. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be better than before, 'cause yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone. Takes just a little while. I never meant any harm to you. I know you believe that it's true. Sing, don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone. So don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone. Ooh, don't you look back. Come on, I can't hear you. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Ooh, don't you look back. Yeah. Ooh, don't you look back. One more
And so now is the time for a few announcements. On your screen right now, you'll see a way of connecting with us virtually by going to our website, www.ahiah.com/virtual. And if you go there, what you'll find is you'll find a easy to press link to Zoom, which will get you to everything that we do, whether it's our prayer and connection in the morning, whether it's our Ahiah Roundtable on Saturday morning, whether it's our Women's Circle on Friday night, or the traditional classes and workshops that we've done on Tuesday evening, the book study, or Wednesday night, which is the healing service. That one Zoom link will get you to all of those things. Also, down a little bit farther on the page, you'll find a link to our live stream on Facebook. So if you want to watch from the Facebook app, that's how you would get there. So however you get to us, we would love to connect with you in the virtual world. Also, we have a dial-a-prayer that's going on right now. All you have to do is dial our office phone number and press option 7, and you'll get to Kelly Metcalf. She's been doing a wonderful reading and prayer, and she changes it every week. So every week you'll get a new copy, a new version. So if you need a little boost, this is a great way to do a boost. And we will see you next week, for more connection time right here on our live stream. And so now is the time for our benediction. So if you'll repeat after me, something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all of my affairs. I accept it. I am it. And I share it. Just the way it appears, and just the way it appears not. Thank you, life. Amen and amen. And so now I'd just like to invite you to go to our Zoom room now for a little bit of fellowship time. If you go to ahiah.com/virtual, you'll find the link right there. And you can go in and join us with your own cup of coffee and maybe a donut if you have one. And we would love to talk to you. I'll see you there. Thank you, everyone, and bye-bye.